Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. Today I'm really pleased to do a video for you showing the application Kernel that I've built with the help of AI and that you've been following along with this journey. So Kernel allows you to build your second brain one atomic note at a time, and it's really designed for people just like me. People who are doers, people who are thinkers, and people who are lifelong learners and really love to keep on top of what's happening in the world and organize their thoughts and capture that information. So essentially the way Kernel works is you have the ability to capture notes or sources of information, sources of knowledge, add your own thoughts to them, and then tie them back to the source where you actually found that information. So what we're going to do straight off the bat is we're going to create a new note. So we'll go here and we're going to capture the core idea. Recently, I was just reading David Goggins' book, and one of the things that I learned was, he has this message of don't just get motivated, get obsessed. So I'm going to cut and paste that. That could be one of the core ideas that you take away from reading the book. You want to remember it, you don't want to forget it. And then you have the ability to add some additional context. So here, this could be your own personal thoughts about it. It could be some additional context provided by the author or provided by the source. And in this case, I'm just going to cut and paste some information that says, look, David Goggins, he's much more than just motivation. He's about getting obsessed, because motivation is what gets you started, but the obsession is what gets you through every bit of rough terrain until you're someone you never thought you could be. With Kernel, you have the ability to organize these ideas or insights that you learn into folders. So for example, I've already got a couple created before. So I might use, think, hey, this aligns with mental strength. I want to add it in there, but you can also add tags. So organize with folders and then tag with common concepts, so that over time, as your knowledge base grows, you can see notes that have a relationship to one another. So obviously we might want to tag it with David Goggins. We might also want to tag it with motivation. And obsessed. Let's do that. All right, after that, once you create a note, you have the ability to just go ahead, skip creating a source and create the note. You can link it to an existing source, so if you've already created a source type for this, or add it to a brand new source. In this case, I'm going to create a new source, and out of the box we support a whole number of different source types. You can also create your own custom source types, so if there's one that doesn't kind of fit what you want to do, you can create your own, and you can also toggle these on and off. So if you're never going to add a source from an academic article, you can hide that so you don't have to see it again. In this case, we're going to go with a book, and the book that I was reading is Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So I'm going to copy and paste some of that information here. And not all of this information is required, and you can also kind of hide or change these fields as well if you want. You don't have to have all of these either. So we might put in the publication date, which I've got to the side of me, which is in December. And this is back in 2018. Wow, quite a while ago now. And on the first, so we'll select that date. You can put in ISB number, edition, format, etc. But again, you don't have to do that. I'm just going to cut and paste the kind of summary that's available on Amazon for the book. But again, here's an opportunity where you're providing the summary of that source. You might want to add some of your own context around why this book or particular source appealed to you, what you learned from it, why you decided to add it to your repository. And then with the book in particular, you can also add a URL or reference. So we're going to create that note. And that note's now going to appear on our dashboard. So we can always now go back and we can see the content that we saved. So, and also obviously the source. Now, where this gets really beneficial is, for example, say at a later point in time, you want to look at what's everything I've learned about mental strength over the last 6 months. You can first of all go to your folder. You can see all of the different things that you've saved about mental strength. And then you also might want to filter by a particular tag. Obviously, in this case, we've only got a couple, but you can also combine multiple folders. So if you want to see mental strength and personal development, they come up together. And then you might want to say, hey, look, I really want to understand things that are around those topics, but also associated with habits. And we can add a tag. So now we can see, hey, this is the only source that we've saved that relates to mental strength, personal development, and habits. Or it might also be things like innovation if we have any sources we don't in that particular instance. So if we clear our filters, we go back to our main dashboard. The other thing we can do is we can open up an existing note and we can go to related notes. And related notes are notes that have common properties tied across them. So this might be common tags, it might be common sources, and it might also be common folders. Now, unlike the folders or tag filtering, it doesn't just match on one of those fields. There's basically a matching algorithm behind the scenes that makes sure that it's matching on multiple different traits before it identifies it as a related kind of note. In this case, we can see that there's one here, which is life is a constant test of your mental toughness. We might have been reading about this one around motivation. We now want to dive into this, and we can open this up and we can read more about this particular note that we saved at this time. So here, David's talking about life being an ongoing challenge. It tests who you are, and we can also see the source of this. Now, in this particular instance, the source is actually a YouTube video, so we do have the link back to the YouTube video if we want to go and watch that. But I'm going to back out of this for a second and go over to the next tab, which is sources. So just like we created a source when we created the note, you do have the ability to create a source independently, where again you have those same options, and each of these are unique fields. So if we select a blog post, for example, it'll show the post title, obviously, as opposed to the name of the book. it'll have the post URL instead of the link to the book where you can buy it, for example. So then with our sources, we can see that this is the one we created before with, the book Can't Hurt Me. But we can also see that we've got a couple of other sources already here. And for example, there's this one here from Chris Williamson, who's a YouTuber and podcaster. And the source was the 23 harsh truths nobody wants to admit from his interview with Alex Hormozy. So here we can see that source. Again, the URL exists and we've provided a description, but we also have the ability to view all of the related notes that we saved from that particular source at the time. So very quickly, we can know, hey, I remember watching that podcast. I don't remember the key insights or the key takeaways that really resonated with me. Well, here they are. Here's the notes that were important to me. The fear of other people's opinion is a waste of life. You can move through life at 7 times the rate of other people by simply changing when you make decisions. And the best way to guarantee a life you don't want is to do what everyone else is doing. So again, they're the 3 takeaways out of the 23 that I've saved here. If we need to, we can of course go into that note. We can see the details of that note and obviously the source as well. You can also filter your source types. So for example, if you're looking for a particular source and you just want to find all of your books, you can click that and automatically we just see all of the sources that come from books. Same thing in this particular example, we've got our YouTube videos. Now, the other functionality that I spoke of, if we go to our settings, we've got a couple of different options. We have all of our existing source types. So as I said, if you're never going to have an academic article, you can toggle the visibility on and off. Same with any of these. Equally though, you can go into any of these existing source types and you might say, hey, I don't want the URL. I don't know why you wouldn't want the URL, but you can delete that field or the publish date or the description. And then you can also toggle to show these things on or off the card. What I mean by the card is the little card that shows here. So at the moment, you can see that we're just kind of showing the title in many cases, sometimes the channel name for YouTube videos. But for books, we're only showing actually the book title and the book publisher. So if we go back to our settings, edit source types, and if we look at our book, you'll see that publisher and title are set. We also have the ability to control our folders so we can reorder them. We can also look at our tags to rename them or give them different colors. But perhaps the most important thing is on the existing sources, you can, on the source types tab, you can create your own new source. So I, for example, have been watching a lot of masterclass videos. Masterclass, for those of you who don't know, is kind of like Netflix for people who share real-world insight, business leaders, sport leaders, politicians, etc. So you might create that as a source type. You can define your own little icon for it, so it's a video, and then you can add fields that are relevant to you. So this might be like masterclass course name. This might be presenter. Right? This might be I don't know, key takeaways. And then you can decide, are these strings? So just text. Are these numbers, booleans, dates, or rich text? So obviously the course name and the presenter is just a simple string, but for the key takeaways, I want some rich text. So once you've created that source, it would then be available to you from your sources dropdown when you're creating a brand new source from here, or when you're creating a source as part of a note. So I wanted to share this with you because I know there's been a lot of people who've been following along with my journey, and thank you very much for everyone who's watching. If you think Kernel might be of interest to you, I'd love to get your feedback. So go to getkernel.co, create your free account, and let me know if you've got any feedback. Be much appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.